Yeah, so I have undertaken eight interviews in total, right, till now.
You finish.
Yeah, I have finished eight interviews and I have already done the data analysis and um, posted it, I mean, made changes in the file.
Okay.
Yeah.
So at the moment, we can move to the chapter 4 about result already. Okay. So
Okay.
basically, for chapter 4, what I want to see. So for every single chapter, the first section is going to be just a brief introduction of the chapter, right? And
Yes.
then, for example, chapter 4, number 4 is result. You then move to a coding table. So basically, what is a coding table? I want to see that coding table in your chapter 4 result. So basically, the coding table is just like this. So we are going to create a table with three columns. The first one is going to be interview, where you are going to write it in short form like int, okay? And the second table is going to be interviewee, and the second column is going to be interviewee, and the last column is going to be the role. And then under, for example, I will just do it like this for you to easy to see. For example, okay? Let me just paste it into. Can you see in the chat box? So this is going to be called as a coding table. When you start your chapter 4 result, after saying like, okay, this chapter is going to present an analysis of gathering data, blah, blah, something, a brief introduction of the chapter, you have to create a coding table, just like I was sending on the chat box. And based on the number of your interview, you are going to have interviewee 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, something. And you're going to name them. This is how you code your interviewee, and later on for you to use them for your discussion, because you can't say their name straight away. You have to call them int1, int2, int3, int4 as a way to make their answer anonymous and make them anonymous. Okay, so when you start your uh, chapter 4, this is what I want to see, a coding table. Okay, and then you're going to start to discuss about your result and finding. So then you're going to focus on your three main themes. So for example, chapter 4 result, you will have 4.1, theme 1, and then what is it? 4.2, theme 2, what is it? 4.3, theme 3, what is it? So basically for your chapter 4, you are going to just have three main sections related to your three main objectives. So for example, for your objective 1, theme 1, about productivity, here where you're going to discuss about um, answer related to this theme, and then sub theme you are going to find out when you start to do interview for this theme. So for example, you are going to say like, okay, so for questions number 4, you display the questions, and then in response to the questions, you are going to have interviewee 2 answer like this, interviewee 4 answer like this, interviewee 6 answer like that. So you are going to have the questions you place out, and then you're going to have the answer of the interviewee to place out also. You don't have to write the answer in full form. You can just write the answer in the short form, where the team is going to emerge, okay, and sub team emerge, okay. I don't know how many sub team you're going to have for each main team. It depends on you, but you then can also draw a how should I say, a conceptual framework. If there's a merge of sub-teams, for example, let me just take this photo for you to have a look. So, for example, the main theme is going to be productivity, but during the interview, they are going to have sub-themes around productivity. Can you see it?
Yes, Amy, can see.
Yeah. So if you do have sub-themes during the interview, you're going to draw up a conceptual framework like this, easier for people to see. And for example, your main theme is going to be productivity. You are going to then just discuss the the main theme first, and then you're going to say like 4.1.1. The sub-theme is going to be, for example, autonomy. 4.1.2, the sub-theme is going to be work efficiency, and how you are going to display it is going to be like this. Questions number 9. How does hybrid work module influence employee productivity? For example, like that. You're going to say then in interview E2. Okay, so it helps employee to have this flexibility around your schedule. At the same time, also interview E3, that you also have flexibility to choose what day. So basically, it's going to be a presentation of questions and answer. Does it make sense? That's how you display your result. Presentation of the questions and the answer. You don't have to write the answer of interviewee in full form of answer. You just need to write them any place in the answer can show the theme. You don't have to write in full form, okay? You just have to say like quotation mark and then 3 dot and then that main point and then 3 dot and then quotation mark. That's it. For example, not in full form, just like this. Whenever they answer it, the main one, the main themes or the sub theme you want to use, you just need to write in short forms like that instead of full form of the answer. Okay, so that's how you're going to show them. And then, for example, 4.2, theme 2, what is it? Main theme. And then if there's any sub-theme emerge while you were conducting the questions, you're going to draw up a conceptual framework. And then you're going to discuss about the sub-themes and main theme at the same time. Okay? Does it make sense? I don't know
Yes, Amy.
how further I can explain it because like that's how you're going to show your chapter 4 result. First, coding table. Second, start to discuss about the main themes. And during main theme, they're going to have sub-theme emerge. And how you're going to display is going to be just showing the answer you was using to 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 conduct the main theme. And then during that main questions, you're going to have sub-themes. That's it. And how you're going to display it. You will just place the questions. Okay, the main questions we're using for this main theme was questions number 4, for example, like that. You display the questions, whole questions, and then you're going to display the answer of the interviewee following that questions. And then you draw up the conceptual framework where there's going to be sub-themes emerge from that main themes. And I'm going to choose the sub-themes that emerge the most to explain. Okay, you may have like 10, 5, 6 sub-themes, or like if you're lucky, you just have like few. But if you have loads, you can choose the sub-themes that emerge the most. Okay, because if for some of you they have like 10 sub-themes or like even like 11 sub-themes something, you can't explain everything. Okay, you can just choose like the main sub-theme every almost like for example you interview 8 interviewee and like 6 or 7 of them mention the sub-theme, so you are going to see that's going to be most common sub-theme, then you choose it to explain further. So explain main themes and then choose the sub-theme emerge the most, explain it. Okay, and then for example sub-themes you're going to say like 4.1.1 sub-theme 1, and you're going to mention the answer of the interview is mentioned about the sub-themes. That's it. So you're going to have quotation of the answer of the interviewee during that questions interview process. Okay, just keep going on like that. So for this chapter, I want to see coding table. I want to see conceptual framework where main team going to have the emerge sub team, and then I want to see the quotation where you display the questions and you display the answer, relevant answer of the interviewee to show that team and to show that sub team. Does it make sense? This
Yes,
section
Amy.
just easy like that. Okay. So that's what I want to see for the result displays. And some of you were asking about in the chat box. I think you can see it. Some of you were asking about your interviewee. Let me just read the email again. Because so I did allow you to go back to your country and do the interview, and then the interview you don't have to interview that much. Just have like 6 to 7 or to 10 interviewee already. I don't know how you conduct the interview, but like it's already a quite easy, much easy for you when you can go back to your country and do the interview because all of you, most of you already have working experience. Okay, so at the moment you have to at least almost finish your interview process, and then you now going to jump into your chapter 4 result displays already. So that's why when you ask me to have like extension for your uh just for your interview conduct, I don't know how should I extend more, because if you extend more, how when you will finish your chapter 4, and then when you finish your chapter 5, chapter 6, because you're going to you just have like 1 month and 2 weeks something left for your dissertation. It will be really short. So please try to finish your chapter 4 within this week. Drop it at least for 31st of this month. We're going to see each other again like next Wednesday. At least, okay, and please at least show me your draft of this chapter before it, and then I'm going to make comment on it. And please just use only one link, whatever link you already saw my comment on it. Just use that link only for update your work. Don't change, please. Okay. Yes.
Amy, I would like to ask you something.
Yeah.
So here in the results and findings, you said that we have to present the main themes that are going to be that were our drivers basically, and our main objectives as well. So what about the barriers, Amy? Because I have seen like in my interviews which I conducted, they have presented many barriers of
Oh,
implementation. So
because like the barriers, you're going to use it for discussion.
okay, so I don't have to discuss about barriers in here.
So
Oh,
basically, when you are going to talk about like discussion and barriers, you're going to use it like later on for recommendation, and then like for how should I say further recommendation.
okay.
Does it
So
make
I can
sense?
have, yeah, yeah, now I understood. Like
Mm.
for for the sub themes part, I can have like more than 4 sub themes as well, right? Because basically I have
Yeah,
to
it's up to
discuss it
you.
there. Yeah.
So you
Okay.
can say, for example, later on for your chapter 5, everything is going to be linked. So for example, for chapter 5, you're going to have 5.1 discussion on main themes. And then you are going to say 5.2 discussion on like sub-themes. And then like at the end of the day, what would be the things you can gather together from those two things?
Okay.
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 And then you are going to say like recommendation.
Okay.
And then this recommendation is going to base on the answer.
Okay, I get it now.
Yeah.
Thank you.
No worries. Or if you want to display the driver and barriers in chapter result, it's still okay. You can say like 4 point after the main themes, okay, and then sub themes within the main theme already. You can have a more another section about like barrier and driver, and you display it there because it depends on you. If for chapter 4 at the result you display the quotation, you already displays the questions in chapter 4, then in chapter 5 you can just make it consistent by not present any quotation. At this chapter 5 you will just discuss, compare and contrast between your finding and your literature review. That's it. You don't have to display any quotation anymore. If you already include the quotation, everything in chapter 4 result, in chapter 5, you just have to compare and contrast between your finding result in chapter 4 and your literature review. That's it.
So basically, for like if I need to present the quotations for the barriers, so after this, the discussion like 4.1 would be theme one. So should I do it like 4.4 as a barrier, or in that sub themes? I mean in that theme one, there should be a section about barrier.
You can include them like that, or
Okay.
you can separate them like what you said at first. So if you want to include them, for example, 4.1, theme 1, or objective 1 something, and then in 4.1 you have sub-themes. After discussing main theme, you have sub-theme, right? And then you have 4.1 point something. You say like driver and barriers within that themes.
So basically, I can do the critical analysis and comparative analysis there as well, right?
Yes,
Between the
but
two. Okay.
there it will be just your presentation of the questions and
Quotations.
the answer. That's it.
Yeah. Yeah.
Further discussion, when you try to compare them with literature review, you have to keep it for your chapter 5.
Right. Discussions. Yeah.
Okay, discussion. Don't discuss them yes on chapter 4.
Okay. Okay. Thank you, Amy. Yeah.
No worries. So just like Shumita were asking, if you want to including all of the quotation of all of the presentation of your interview, you can put all of them in your chapter 4. And how you put it? First, about main themes. During main theme, you have sub-themes. And if you want to also discuss about driver and barriers at the same time, you can also, after sub-themes of that main theme, you start to discuss about it. Basically, just the questions and the answer of the interviewee. So how you're going to do it? For example, okay, so regarding to this main objective, blah blah something, you're going to briefly talk about that main themes, and then you state out the questions for that main theme, and then you just state out the answer of the interviewee for that questions. That's it. And when sub-theme emerge, again the questions and where the sub-theme emerge from the answer. So basically, in chapter 4, the most things people will say is going to be about quotation, about the questions and the quotation as the answer of the interviewee. That's it. Yes.
So, Amy, do we have a word limit for this? I mean, the word limits were allocated for other sections, but are there any word limits for result and
I think the word limit is already given when you start to do your dissertation, right?
Yeah, but it was given until methodology that I could see, and now the email is gone, which Scott have sent us like at the very beginning.
Yeah.
So there was this phrase mentioned that if your supervisor is comfortable, or if
To be
here.
honest, I'm not that strict for work count. As long as for the whole of your work, it smash the final maximum work counts. That is okay.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I can have like it can be split. I can do it right on my own.
So yeah, you can do it as long as later on for your whole